Hey everyone, this is PrinceWatercress, and welcome to a brand new Let's Play. This time around, it is Venture for the Atari 2600. Originally an arcade hit by Exidy, it was ported to the home consoles, including the Atari 2600, the home consoles of the time, and this particular port would be published by Coleco in 1982, but would later be re-released and republished by Atari in 1988. Aim of the game is quite simple. You go through a series of dungeons, you fight off the monsters, you collect the treasures, and you get out alive. Once you go through all the chambers on the map, you go to a second map. When you complete the second map, you loop back to the first map, where all the enemies are faster and tougher. There's also a story for this, according to the manual. Authorities baffled. Haunted Dungeons USA. Over the past few weeks, several professional treasure hunters have disappeared while exploring a dungeon reputed to house the most priceless treasures in the world. The only known survivor has returned with stories of monsters who eliminate anyone who dares enter the dungeon's halls and a complex labyrinth of chambers. But authorities are not taking such reports seriously. We have no rational explanation for these disappearances, one investigator reported. All we know is that the brave soul who wants to claim those treasures had better be sharp. At this point, the only one I know who's clever enough for the job is Winky, trademark. He told a crowd of nervous would-be hunters. Our hero should be ready with bow and arrows. Whoever or whatever is guarding those treasures is determined that no one come out of there alive. And from there, that's where we start. I will be playing with both of the difficulty switches on Novice, B/Novice. That starts you on skill level 1, which is basically the first loop of the game. B/Novice on the left switch and A/Expert on the right switch takes you to level 2. A/Expert on the left switch and B/Novice on the right will take you to level 3. And both difficulty switches set to A/Expert will take you to level 4, which is the furthest you can start from. And from there we need to press the reset switch / button to start a new game. And from there we can start moving. So we move around with the joystick, and the fire button lets us fire bow and arrows. The arrows have a limited range. You can only have one on the screen at a time. You don't want to run into monsters or their corpses, because both will hurt. They will both cost you a life. And for this particular area, you want to be very careful about what you're doing. Otherwise, that happens. And you get sent back, which I was totally not in the mood for. You also don't want to run into any enemies on the overworld, because you can't defend yourself on the overworld, and if any enemies touch you on the overworld, you are losing a life. That's how I should have done it. I should have given myself more room away from the walls, and, well, sadly I did not do that. I do like the fact that you can move in 8 directions. Definitely makes things a little bit easier. And let's go ahead and grab the apple. And get away from that, because that is a monster that cannot be killed. If you hear that rushing sound, that is a hall monster. The hall monster wants you dead. Do not run into it. And I ran into the monster corpse. Great! Well, at least it's easier to get back. You have your score and your lives at the top of the screen. Obviously, I have 1 square left, so that means I have only 1 life left. Not what I was going for on the bow and arrow front, but I'll take it. And yeah, that hall monster really tracks you. Now, for this area. Want to grab the key and also not touch anything dead. Wait for enemies to disappear and then take them on. Want to be a little careful here because of the tight corners. Thankfully, the enemies were a little cooperative. But there's only one way in and one way out, and I want to be very careful how I get in and out. Same here. Want to be careful here. Get the crown and get out. Don't want to deal with that thing. And can I get to this area without getting horribly maimed or messed with? Alright, grab that and then get out of there. Those enemies and this dungeon is the worst to deal with just because of the tight spaces and how the enemies are more than likely just going to come after you. And now the enemies are a little faster and a little more aggressive. I'm just going to take the treasure and go. 'Cause I'd rather not deal with anything that's trying to kill me. And I ran right into the corpse as I shot it. Great. And here's me hoping I can get past the wall part. Shame that almost all of the rooms in this game is just shooting monsters. So some of them are a little more difficult than others. And just one of them is the room with the walls. And I'd rather get out this way. Alright. Walls are moving a little bit faster. Thankfully, that pink dot is telling you where you are going when you are moving, which is a good thing. It also shows where you're aiming, too, for when you press the fire button. How did I not die there? I will never know. And I died here with a grand total of 5,100 points. And once you lose your last life, that's it. You'll need to reset the console in order to play again. Though I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do any better. We shall see. Would like to go out through that door and not be annoyed by the enemies that are around here. Oh, that was perfect. Now we can just go through here. Take care of the snakes. And the enemies get a lot more aggressive when they're faster. They get a lot more aggressive after the first loop. Definitely surprised by that. And now I'm going to have to take the long way around if I want to get in here. Thankfully, I was able to do just that. That definitely feels like the longest of the rooms to deal with on the first map. And I'm surprised I was able to get past him. Not liking these spiders, though. At least I shot him down. And I got. Yeah, you can't even have the enemies touching you on this map, because you won't be able to defend yourself. You can't fire arrows on the overworld map. Now to go somewhere next. And I'm kind of coming in here with guns a-blazing just because of the nature of these enemies. Since, even though they seem to have random movements, the enemies in that particular room tend to want to come after you. And thankfully, I know what I'm doing here. I hope. But that's the problem with leaving this room for last. Because it is possible to take way too long, make mistakes, and ultimately lose all your lives in that room. How did I get past him? Well, managed to get past him now. But I'm now in the same situation as before, where I'm at the second loop, and I'm down to the last life. I'm pretty sure it's possible to get lives based on points, though I'm not quite sure. Also, I really wanted to get in here. Somehow he managed to not approach me. And I got through this little area a lot faster. Now the snakes are going to give me trouble. They seem to want to come at me more often because of their faster speed. Let's see how this goes. This is obviously a little faster. Let's get the diamond. Excellent. Just in time for the invulnerable monster to show up. Did not expect that to happen. And I seem to be moving a little slower, too. And he ran right into me. Well, at least we did 1,000 points better than we did the last time. And, well, I might as well go ahead and leave it there. That's Venture for the Atari 2600. Fun little game. You run around, you shoot down monsters, you grab treasures, and you try to get out of there without getting horribly maimed. And were there any... No, the game doesn't tell you about any extra lives, so the 3 that you have, that's it. Well then. Yeah, the manual for this game isn't very long. It's just 4 pages. At least the one for the 1988 re-release is. I've never really read the original one. But yeah, you don't get a lot of points for doing things, and you don't get lives off of points either. That's something. Oh well. Well, it was a fun fight for survival all the same. Might as well go ahead and give the mini review. Graphics, serviceable. They get the job done. You're not going to see anything super fancy here. The sound, very arcadey. You're going to be hearing the sound of arrows being fired a lot as you're playing this game. The play control and the controls. Simple premise. Basically laid the groundwork for a lot of top-down adventures down the line, including Legend of Zelda. Somebody had to come up with the idea first. And if this isn't the earliest examples of a top-down style game, it's definitely one of the earliest. And as for replay value, your mileage may vary, but if you like these kinds of games, you may find yourself spending time with it. You may find yourself spending time with Venture and getting the most out of it and learning how to get some high scores and learn how to survive even on the higher difficulties. So there's that. And should you get this one, it's a fine welcome addition to the Atari 2600 library. Definitely one worth checking out at the very least. I can recommend this one. And so, this has been Venture for the Atari 2600. Hopefully you had as much fun with this as I did, maybe just a little bit more. And hopefully I will be back with another Let's Play. Maybe it'll be good, maybe it'll be bad, maybe it'll be somewhere in between, who knows. Until then, this is PrinceWatercress. Take care, stay safe, thanks for watching, and see y'all later!